What are you doing?
Snacking.
Snacking?
Yeah.
What type of nut butter you got there?
Almond. Smooth almond butter.
Is this your afternoon chocolate bar alternative? We're not allowed to mention chocolate bar at the moment, are we?
I could do with some chocolate, right? I'm right about now.
Sweet.
I'm a woman.
Uh-huh. With a knife.
I've got a knife. I just want a chocolate bar.
Uh-huh.
But this is what I've got.
Okay.
What's cracking, players? It's your boy, Stewie G. I've lost some. It's only been a day of searching so far. If you see any flashes of pink, give me a shout. A bit like it's a really rubbish episode of Dora the Explorer. I'm in trouble. I'm only going to be in trouble with myself, and that's the worst kind of trouble to be in. I've even gone to the extreme of trying to be a sniffer dog and smelling the inside of the box that it was delivered in. I mean, got the old Ooter out up here to see if I can sniff it out. Naturally, I did absolutely nothing other than make myself look silly. It's under here.
Howdy, and welcome to the Brexit episode. The one you've all been waiting for. Today I'm going to talk about how Brexit is impacting our company and what measures and thought processes we're going through. I'm going to talk about this in basically 5 short chapters. Number 1, stockpiling. Number 2, importing. Number 3, exporting. Number 4, currency. And number 5, delays. And then after that, I'm going to give you what I think is the key thing that we need to watch out for over the course of the coming, couple of months. I'd like it to be known straight away that this is not in any way a party political broadcast. I'm not going to be giving you any insight into what my own politics are, because it doesn't matter. The key things to know for today's conversation is that we import about 75% of our portfolio, the other 25% sourced here in the UK. And of that 75%, half of that comes from Europe, the other half comes from America. Part 1, stockpiling. Something we are not doing is stockpiling. We're quite fortunate in that our products have quite a long shelf life. Your set of carbon bicycle wheels, for instance, isn't going to go off when it's sat on my shelves. But also, as part of our natural buying cycles, we kind of have enough naturally to get us through the period where we're anticipating Brexit to fall and any small delay that might come off the back of that. So we don't really feel like we need to build up any larger stockpile than we usually would do as being a distributor. Now, if we were buying perishable items, or if we were buying bits of items to turn into a product here in the UK, that would probably be very different. But luckily for us, pretty much everything we sell, we're buying as finished products from somebody, already packaged, all ready to go, and we're just holding it and then moving it to other places. So because of that, we're very fortunate. We're not having to worry about stockpiling. Point number 2, importing. So just to be clear, importing is where we are buying products from around the world and bringing them into the UK. As I mentioned before, half of the products we import come from America and the other half come from the EU currently. So what that means is we're already used to importing in 2 very different ways. Importing and moving products around in the EU at the moment is very, very simple. There's almost no paperwork unless it's for specific hazardous kind of materials. We can kind of move things freely. We don't have to worry about VAT and duties. It's kind of all taken care of naturally. Our importations from the US, however, we have to make sure we're getting the right commodity codes listed on importation forms. We have to have done our due diligence to make sure those forms are done correctly. And we have to make sure we've got enough money in the bank to be able to pay VAT and duties when those products arrive in the UK. So what does that mean for me? It means when I'm buying stuff from America, I have to have a bit more cash on hand to be able to do it, and I have to take care of a little bit more paperwork than I would do from a European supplier. Now in reality, that bit of extra paperwork is fairly easy, and having that little bit of extra cash on hand is usually helped by somebody like a DHL, for instance, big shipping company, they front that VAT and that duty for me when something arrives at the border, and I just pay them back whenever they invoice me. And because we mainly import similar things, we're only really dealing with 1 or 2 different commodity codes, so it's quite hard for us to stuff it up, and we have templates ready to go, and doing the importation from America isn't that taxing for us. The VAT gets recouped when we sell a product to a consumer in the United Kingdom, and the import duties is something we've built into the pricing model of that product anyway. So all in all, as it currently stands, we might spend a few extra moments on our imports from America, spend a little bit of money up front when it's arrived, but it doesn't really stress us out too much. So how might that importation from the EU become harder after a Brexit, whatever Brexit looks like? Well, essentially it means that in a worst case scenario, if we crash out with no deal, what I'm currently doing to import from the US will probably be the format I'm going to have to do for the EU, but we're already pretty conversant with that paperwork, and we need to make sure goods we're buying, we've got a little bit of extra capital in the bank to pay any VAT and duties that will be due on it. Because we're buying completed, finished products, there's only really one form per importation and it's only one set of fees. Again, we're very lucky. We're not buying bits of items and then trying to put them together here, when we might be buying springs from this factory, zips from this factory, materials from this factory. We don't have to worry about that. So we're not stressing too much around the importation side. So what about exporting? Now, we're primarily a UK focused business. All of our B2B stuff is done in the UK, but some of our direct to consumer, so it's the public buying, goes overseas. We've got quite a few fans all over the world, so we quite often ship things like our caps or our jerseys. That's the exporting side of our business. And again, it's something we've been doing for quite a while. Having customers all over the world is great for us. Again, very similar to the importing, depending where it's going. You usually have to do a little customs declaration form, which it mainly comes down to just making sure you're declaring the correct values, putting on the right codes for what it is that's contained in the package. So when it arrives at customs, they can understand what's in there, you've done your paperwork correctly, they can charge the correct duty to whoever's due to pay it, and then it moves on quite smoothly. So in the same way that our importing might become a little bit more complicated, our exporting probably will as well. If we're sending stuff now to Holland, France, Germany, Spain, which we do, that means we're going to have to do that same little bit of paperwork for those guys, but I don't really see that as a stressing. Currency. Now, currency is a slightly more complicated one. Essentially, with all of the unknown and unresolved elements that Brexit brings, currency instability is just a natural byproduct of that. It happened a lot before Brexit, it'll happen a lot after Brexit, but at the moment it's quite prevalent. What that essentially means for a business like us is that where the pound is kind of always getting weaker at the moment, the cost of our goods, especially the ones we're buying from America, are costing us more than they used to. So what does that mean in real terms? It means that when I bring something over from America and I sell it to you, thanks for buying it, I'm making less money on it than I was 6 months ago or a year ago, because I've had to pay a little bit more to get it. I can try and be clever, and I can make sure I've got plenty of US dollars and euros in the bank, and that I can buy in a slightly smarter ways. But overall, at the moment, with the current trends, the way currency is going, there's not a lot I can do to protect myself about it. I can limit the damages, but I can't do much more than that. Now, the interesting upside of that is that while it's costing me a little bit more to buy things, we've noticed an increase in people from abroad buying some of our products. And that's probably because if you are in America or Europe, you're getting more jam for your money. You're getting more jam for your dollar or more jam for your euro right now than you were 6 months ago or a year ago. So where Brexit is kind of taking away with one hand with a little bit of currency instability, it's kind of balancing me up a little bit with the other one, in that we're getting more people from abroad becoming customers. Delays. Delays is a tricky one. We've all been scared with the notions of there being huge queues at the ports. I don't know how much of that will come to fruition. Nobody really does. But it's inevitable there will be some slowing down going through customs. That might be a slowing down of 24 hours, it might be a slowing down of a week. All we can do as a small business from that point of view is be super communicative with our customers when that time comes. There's not much I can prepare. We're too small to have a second warehouse site over in Europe or over in America. And even if we were bigger, I don't think the delays for our kind of product range would be significant enough. I kind of think that with any delay we're going to see at the borders, it'll probably be in that kind of region of things slowing down by a day or two. We're not sending life-saving pills anywhere, and we're not sending perishable goods. So delays, while they have the potential to be a bit of a pain in the butt and us have to kind of just keep people informed, they're hopefully not going to cause too much of an impact when it comes to actually figuring things out in those first few days and weeks around whenever or whatever a Brexit looks like. So those are the 5 key areas that I think are the most important that we need to consider, and we have been considering every single week for the last 3 years. Which brings me nicely on to the one critical area that I think is the most important and has the most potential to cause damage to us. As a small little enterprise operating globally, all this uncertainty at the moment has been tolerable. Like I said, it's not going to impact us in too many areas, but the currencies are coming down, which hurts us in certain areas. The main thing that I think could be the biggest problem for us is if this persists. Time. Time is something I've banged on about a bunch of times in the previous vlogs. Time. If this whole process gets delayed again, perhaps into next year or into next summer, currencies further weaken, I'm going to have to start thinking about renegotiating my buying prices with some of my suppliers, because it will start eating too heavily into our margins. Our suppliers might have to start looking at different avenues or different ways of operating in the United Kingdom, and maybe going around a distributor like me entirely. The biggest threat to us is time, and I think a lot of other businesses, regardless of their size, regardless of if they are importing finished goods like us or parts of goods or perishables, I think the key thing we're all saying is this is taking too long. Time is going to hurt us in the end. So the one element that we are kind of hoping on here is that whatever is going to happen happens soon, so that we can just kind of crack on. Whatever is thrown at us, I think we're amply set up to deal with. But the longer this persists, the more vulnerable I will feel.
I know that what you all are actually really wanting to know about is the triangles on my wrist and what they mean. Fact is, they don't really mean anything. I just really like triangles. I don't know, they're cool, they tessellate, all the angles inside them add up to 180 degrees, and if I do this, it would be a star. You can't see it, but I know it would be a star. I know. Good decision making by me, eh?